Today I had an interesting experience. I was out at out in a nearby forest preserve, and I was just walking, and then I saw a butterfly, but in a way I've never seen before. It almost felt like I was seeing butterflies for the first time. How they flap their wings. It almost looks like it almost seemed like the butterfly's wings were made out of paper. It was that um, like they were glide. It almost felt like they were gliding in the air. It reminded me of the scene from like Spirited Away, where the paper talismans uh, flew all over Haku, right, the dragon. Like, it's very fantastical feeling. And what happened was, it almost felt like I was talking with the butterfly. Um, like it was kind of guiding me around. I could almost feel, obviously, the butterfly didn't speak, but I could feel like this communication going on. Like I could sense what the butterfly wanted to say. It felt very strange. It reminded me of another experience. When I was out biking for a couple of days, just sleeping in a tent, biking for a couple of days just to see the world. I woke up one morning, right, one misty morning, on a corner of I think it was like a Walgreens or something, and I saw it was morning, bright morning, and I saw a bunch of geese walking all over the parking lot. And as I was looking at the geese, I began to feel like a geese, right? I thought I was a goose, right? I became a goose. Um, it's very strange how, like, across species, across life forms, there's a certain like knowing, right? There's a certain sort of knowing, a certain sense of I see, right? Like and as I was looking at the goose, right, I became a goose, right? I felt like I was a goose, right? I forgot that I was human for a split second. I totally forgot I was a human. It's That's when I kind of realized, not even realized, but that's what I felt. Um, that being human is really being a person is really your connection with other people, right? What you are is basically what I am, right? What I am is what you are. It's like that relationship, the connection. There's no me without you, and there's no you without me. I think that was like a Sesame Street song. No, that's Elmo's song. I love you, you love me. But yeah, it's like that connection. Um, it's so very strange. Even though, for example, when we talk about the ego, right? That's the personality, the ego, like who you think you are. But ego is really, you can only really have an ego relative to something else, right? There's me and then there's you, right? There's the self and the other, right? There's me and then there's you, right? Stay away from me, right? That's the ego. But there, you can't have a me without a you, right? They're mutual. You can't have a left without a right. You can't have an up without a down. Right? You can't have a positive without a negative. So even though it seems like ego is based on yourself, right? It's really based on other people, right? It's other people's idea of how they see you, right? Ego is other people's idea of how they see you, right? Which then becomes who you it's like an idea, right? Who you think you are versus who you actually are, which is totally different. There seems to be a lot of these illusions, right? But very, very beautiful, uh, there seems to be a lot of these illusions, confusing one thing for another thing. Probably the biggest one, probably the source of all these illusions is what I would call separateness. It's when you have that feeling of separateness. It's not really the feeling of separateness, right? But feeling separated from those feelings of separateness, right? It's like kind of borrowing from Alan Watts, right? It's like the difference between the menu and the food itself, right? It's like the difference between money and what it actually buys. Just like Pavlov's dog. It's the difference between the bell, right, and the actual food, right? But the food and the bell are two totally different things. The menu and the food are totally different things. Or money and what you can buy with money are totally different things. So it's that sort of like association, right? Association, and then seeing things as they really are, right? Without a sort of without a without having to place it anywhere. You create a sort of space. I had another like a sort of interesting analogy, this time about like giving. So when you give, I think there's like, giving and then taking or receiving. But really, giving is analogous to receiving. You can't really give without receiving. It's like when, like for example, if I barf, right, or all over somebody, I'm giving them my barf, right? But they don't want it, right? Unless you're into that. The internet's pretty crazy. But, right, if you don't like, let's say I can give you my debt, right? I can give you my fist, right? But I mean, I'm giving somebody something, right? But they don't want it, right? So it's not when I give somebody something, really, right? Truly giving somebody something is, well, you have to listen to them, right? If you listen to them and appreciate them, then you'll know what you can give, right? But then that's a form of receiving, right? Because you're listening to somebody, right? So in order to give properly, you must receive. It's mutual. It's it's also very strange too. Sorry for this being a little bit of a stream of consciousness, but I just kind of wanted to organize my thoughts. So like when in the Bhagavad Gita, right, it says you are entitled to your labor, but not the fruits of your labor. It's talking about karma, right? Karma, which is the same as yin and yang, the same as Newton's. For every reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And so it's really strange how whenever like for example, if I if I help somebody out, I don't necessarily. Okay, let me try to think of an example. So I was volunteering at an anime convention, and it seemed I got a lot of help from a lot of people, but the people I helped, I was interpreting for guests from Japan. I was translating for them, helping them out, and then. But the people I helped weren't necessarily who I received. Okay, so I helped somebody and somebody helped me. It's kind of like a pass it forward. Yeah, passing it forward kind of thing, right? I help you, you help somebody else, that somebody else helps somebody else, that somebody else helps somebody else, right? It's like a chain, right? Like a loop. And it loops back to me, right? But the person I help isn't necessarily the person who helps me. But it is very strange in a way, right? In a way, it's so strange, but it's all like connected together. In some unfathomable, unfathomably, infinitely complex way. Yeah. And today, I think what I've also come to appreciate, what I've really come to appreciate, when I feel love, right? When I feel appreciated, I appreciate other people and other things. It's hard to love others when you can't love yourself. It's really hard to love other people if you can't love yourself. But if you feel love, right? If you feel loved, it's very, very much easy to love other people. In fact, you want to love other people, right? You want to share with other people. For me, I really feel a sense of deep contentment, right? I feel very loved when I go outside. When I go outside and like see the trees, see the birds, see Mr. Sun shining outside, see the clouds, right? I think it's so beautiful, right? It's so beautiful. Every day, every single day, that's how I feel. I don't always. I sometimes forget, right, to appreciate. But every time that I do get that feeling, it's I feel love, right? I guess it's like recharging my battery. I'm a robot. Beep beep boop. Yeah, it's when I feel that sense of beauty, right? That sense of awe, the love. I can share that with other people. I'm sort of like a vehicle for I'm a vehicle for nature through which nature can love other people. So yeah, I feel truly blessed. I feel blessed to be able to see that beauty, right? Even just a small, tiny bit. I feel truly blessed to be able to see that beauty. I can't really force myself to be grateful. That never works. If I try to say like, but I have to be grateful, right? I have to be this. I have to be that never works. It never works for me. Or if it does, it'll make me feel resentful later on. But there is a way to sort of nurture, right? Cultivate gratitude, right? It's not like forcing gratitude, but it's nurturing. Um, you're being grateful for gratitude. Yeah. It feels as though if it's like growing growing a garden. You can't really force isn't even quite the right word. You it's not possible to to rip open a seed and cause the plant to grow. It's not really possible. But you can like set the environment. Like whenever I garden, I don't really even feel like I'm doing anything, right? It's more so what I'm doing is just helping the plant grow itself. The plant grows all by itself, right? I do water. I water, I don't know, weed a little bit, but add some compost, mulch, but I'm not really doing anything, right? The plant is the one that's growing, right? It's once you set the environment, right? Once the environment is set, the plant will grow on its own, right? Naturally grow on its own. Perhaps it's the same with people too. If you have the proper environment, right? A supportive, encouraging, uplifting, empowering, meditative environment. I believe human, right? A person will naturally evolve, right? A person will naturally grow, right? Grow spiritually, grow emotionally, grow intellectually, right? As a human being.